Chapter 2 of The Story of St. Nicholas by Mildred Luckhardt. Chapter 2. The Kings Who Gave Without Telling. A crowd greeted them at the wharf. As Nicholas led the dripping sailors to his home, people clapped him on the shoulder and chattered all around him. The sun disappeared behind the mountains. The rough road was growing dark and hard to follow when a torch shone down the path. Uncle John had come to look for his boy. He put his arm around Nicholas and helped him home. Light streamed from the open doorway as they came to the house. Anya ran down the path, calling,
"Nicky! Nicky, are you safe?"
Brushing people aside, she hugged him. Her tears splashed on his cheeks.
"Oh, Nicky!"
She cried, hurrying him along.
"I went to see my cousin and I stayed too long. When did you not come home? I was afraid you were drowned."
Once more the people told the tale of the rescue and how brave Nicholas was. When she heard most of it, she clapped her hands to silence them and stopped.
"Nonsense! You make Nicholas think he's a hero. He's just a boy who acts brave sometimes and makes mistakes often. Come, Nicky, eat your meal."
She led him and the shivering seamen into the warm room. Uncle John bade good night to the crowd and closed the door. Then he moved about quietly to find dry clothing for the drenched men. Meanwhile, Anya bustled around setting out food. When Nick, dressed in dry clothes, came down the ladder from his loft under the roof, she was ladling up huge bowls of savory stew. It tasted good. Pedro, the younger sailor, ate without speaking. Uncle John fed the older man a bit at a time until he could reach for some food himself. No one spoke. Everyone ate and rested and got warm inside and out. Finally, when Pedro was breaking his last piece of crusty bread, he said, "Nicholas, I cannot tell you how thankful I am that you saved our lives." Nick rumpled his hair, as he often did when he felt self-conscious and did not know what to say. As they talked on about his bravery, he felt more and more uncomfortable. Searching for something to change the conversation, he spied his Uncle John's writings and a picture on the chest. "Uncle John, may I show the men the picture you painted?" The two men crowded close while Nicholas explained that his uncle had made copies of stories from the Gospels and illustrated them. The older man nodded, understanding. He had seen writings like this once or twice before with stories about Jesus. The younger man had never seen such a thing. The older one explained, "That picture tells the story of the three wise kings who rode from the east to find the Christ child. See the bright star they're following? How real their camels look, moving through the night toward Bethlehem. This is a beautiful picture." Nicholas was proud to have his uncle's work praised. He wanted the men to hear the story. "Uncle John, please read to us about the wise men." Nicholas rested his chin on his hand as his uncle read. The house smelled of ginger and honey cakes and was heavy with the smoke of pine wood. He was comfortable and sleepy, but he could not fall asleep during this story. He liked it too much. While Uncle John read, the lamplight shone on his gray hair and beard and on his thin face scarred by a pirate's sword. The weariness that Nick had seen earlier was gone. The man's eyes shone and his voice rang clear and glad. He was always this way when people gathered in the room as they did now to hear about Jesus. "Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, saying, 'Where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and have come to worship him.'" Nicholas could almost hear the pad of camels' hooves as the kings rode by starlight. Jewels sparkled in their robes. He was worried when they went to see cruel Herod, and he was glad when at last they turned toward Bethlehem. He smiled happily as Uncle John read, "And lo, the star which they had seen in the east went before them till it came to rest over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced exceedingly with great joy, and going into the house, they saw the child with Mary his mother, and they fell down and worshipped him. Then opening their treasures, they offered him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh." For a moment, no one spoke. Then Pedro exclaimed, "What a wonderful story!" And he gazed at the picture and then asked, "What were the kings' names?" "Their names are not told," Uncle John replied. "They gave their gifts and went away quietly to their homes." The old sailor nodded. "A good way to give presents." Then he added very softly, Jesus usually helped people quietly, too,
He did.
Anya agreed. Later, when the sailors warmly wrapped in blankets by the fire and all the house was still, Nicholas climbed the ladder to the loft and opened the small shuttered windows by his bed. How comfortable it was to lie down! As he lay there, he could see one bright star through the window. That made him think of the wise men who gave presents to Jesus. Frankincense smelled fragrant, especially on festival days. Myrrh, with its rich perfume, was often used to ease pain. And gold. What would it be like to be able to give golden gifts? If he had any gold or silver now, he would give some to the Spanish sailors. From far away came the sound of camel bells. Perhaps they were part of the caravan carrying gold. He tried to picture it. Before long, he did not hear the bells or see the star. He was asleep, dreaming that he had traveled toward Bethlehem with the wise kings.